This episode of Garage Idiots is brought to you by us. Are you tired of subpar gloves coming in boxes that are not flame resistant, smash proof, or cut resistant? Garbage. That's why we at Garage Idiots developed the first smash proof, flame proof, and cut proof cardboard that not even the military has access to. Now, perhaps everything I just told you was a lie, but what isn't a lie is that these gloves don't suck, and if you don't buy them, you're missing out. So go to thegarageidiots.com, get yourself a box, and let us know what you think.
It's good. Usually they'll turn all like mushy,
slimy, yeah.
Slimy, mushy. No, it's dry. It's good to go.
In today's madness, kind of something with this, but kind of not at all. I polished a turbo for a guy not too long ago. He upgraded to this big old chunkamunka. It is an On3 performance turbo, but they seem to do all right. And so I got to polish this one, right? Well, the one I polished that's on a Silverado, making 750 horsepower. A little bit smaller than this. He don't need it no more. So I'm gonna charge him to polish this, but then the exhaust side is different than what is on there now. And then the intercooler size is different than what he has now. So after I polish this, he's bringing the truck here tomorrow. And I gotta make the exhaust work, and then I gotta make the intercooler pipe work. And I'm kinda doing him a deal on that, and I'm hoping I can kind of trade up to get his turbo. He has it on a 4.8, it's making 750. We got here a cammed 5.3. And it's pretty, like, I don't want to call it small, but it's not big. It looks like a tiny, like 67 mil, which is almost exactly what we were going to put on here. And so that'd be cool. Give you a crash course 3-minute run through of how to polish giant, fat, pain in the butt turbos. And then we're going to do a little fab work. I'm going to teach you how not to do fab work. And then we're gonna see if we can get the turbo, and then if we're able to get the turbo, we are one step closer to not having to buy as much stuff. Got it? Cool. Look at how absolutely massive. Okay, so like that's decent size, right? When you pop this off, look at how much bigger this thing gets. That's no joke. This will make some jam on that truck for sure. I'd be lying to you guys if I wasn't slightly terrified to be trusted with something this ridiculously clean. And the paint on this is absolutely spectacular. Look at that. Man, as you just saw in the burnout videos, this dude has been put through the ringer. There's a little up and down play, but no in and out. He thinks the smoke that it is producing is from the motor. And after watching that video, I wouldn't doubt it. Basically, I told him I wanted this here turbo, and he was like, well, shine this up for me and you can have it. And I'm like, deal. The new turbo that he's got that we're polishing now has probably pretty close to a 3-inch. So we gotta just lop this off, put a 3-inch, different coupler. And then right here, this goes from 4 to 2.5. I don't even know if that's 3. So we gotta lop this off, add a little bit, and then weld a V-band onto the new turbo, weld a V-band onto this. Mwah, we're done. 1,000cc injectors, 2 525 pumps, and with that turbo, he's making 750. We only want to make maybe 450 right now because he has a built 4L80 trans. We have a stock absolutely worthless transmission. So this has a 4L60. It should have already broke now, according to the internet, just with that motor in it. So we'll see what happens. Luckily, this truck is lighter. I've been told that'll help, you know, make it last a little longer. But once we put that on, all bets are off, and we're gonna find out. Yeah, I polished all this, by the way. Not too shabby, huh? Oh, I polished this one too. Didn't even realize it. So I dipped this dash bezel, but I was geeking out over his lights. Like, that's super clean. You can hardly see my handiwork because it's so dark, but yeah, pretty slick. Let's get to work. We had to run and grab some 309 stainless filler rod because that's apparently what you're supposed to use when welding stainless to cast. I didn't know that. Luckily, I have people that are smarter than me on my friends list. So heading back to the shop and we'll see what happens. All right, I've never welded stainless to cast before, so I don't know how pretty it's supposed to look. The inside definitely got ugly as I did the outside, but the outside doesn't look, as far as like coloration, it doesn't look, you know, like the crap you'd see on Instagram, but welds are pretty decent. Definitely had a lot of grace because it's so thick, so I'm able to just kind of sit there and work it and play with it. Fun fact from an idiot, let me teach you how I did that. So all this stainless rod is 308. I don't know what that means, but I called someone who's smarter than me, and he does this all the time for a living. I was like, hey, what rod do I need to use for this kind of situation? He said 309 stainless, so I went to his place and got some of this, and it's supposed to be the best. I think just the contents of the metal help blend the cast and the stainless together is what I'm assuming. Biggest thing I read on the internet too was differences in heat expansion. You know, so like the cast iron is going to expand at a faster or slower rate than the stainless steel. And so I think that's kind of got something to do with it. A lot of people would get cracks and stuff. This thing is so hot. Goodness gracious. I heated it up with a torch for probably, I just sat here and stared at it with a torch for like 10 minutes. But then once I went around twice with that thing, this thing is like, you could heat a small house with the heat that's radiating off of this stuff. The housing is polished, so now we're gonna take this thing apart. You know, you'd think for the turbo sticking way out of the hood, it'd be easy to do. But this bolt right here has taken approximately 15 minutes. And oddly enough, that's not even the hardest part. The hardest part is I do not work on cars that are this clean. And so I do not have the fancy little protection mats. It has been exceptionally difficult to do all this without touching what the right, left. Without touching the fender or any part of the vehicle, because it is all very clean. When I'm working on a vehicle of my own, this doesn't bother me. Don't care at all. This is a freaking work of art And I don't want to do that to this. But we were almost done, thankfully. Either his theory is right and that motor is on its last leg and that's why it's smoking so much, or this turbo is mucho poo-poo. There is oil excreting itself out of all surfaces. This thing wasn't even tight, which was kind of funny. Probably from that giant burnout just rattled it right, or it's stripped. That's cool. Well, cheap turbo, maybe I'll just weld it shut. But yeah, this may or may not be a gamble, but I guess if we put, we'll put the new one on, start the truck, and then if it's still smoking a ton, then it's the motor. If it's smoking a little less, then it was probably this guy. It's always got to be something stupid. So the old oil drain, this guy, doesn't even cover the freaking hole, right? So this is the gasket, not even close. Found this over at Dennis's. It covers the hole, but I don't love it. The holes are a little off. I don't really have time to go grab something. So what I'm thinking is I'm just gonna stack aluminum on this thing to add some girth. All right, cool. I'm gonna weld things. In a minute, yeah.
Can't stand you.
On the spot, real garage idiot customer glove review, go.
The best gloves I've ever used. They don't rip.
You can't say
Oh,
ow! Not terrible. Minus that little blob. The rest of it looks pretty professional, considering these were done by professionals. Mine are right there. Minus the glob. Pretty okay with that. Now we'll see if it'll fit. It is hot. Holy. Alright, that's gonna work once it's in the boot. I'm gonna kind of repolish this thing. I got some scratches on here, and I may or may not have done that with the Sawzall when I was cutting it. We're gonna get that out real quick because that's what I did, so we're gonna fix it. Pretty good looking MR2 in the rearview mirror, eh? Everything's tight, so it should be solid. I'm really just worried about the oil.
Okay, friend. Well, okay, friend. It doesn't start too well.
We are looking freaking good though. Shine that up a little bit for the dude. That new pipe on there. Turbo polish, kind of cleaned up those two pipes there. Starts good, no leaks, we're set. Didn't scratch the fender. So that's concern number uno. Go inside your hole. Boom. Voila! One other thing, if you notice during the test startup, there wasn't much smoke. So that either means the engine needs to warm up before it starts peeing out oil, or this thing is absolutely cooked. But we're gonna find out anyways. Ain't gonna be that big of a deal to stick it on my truck and see what happens. Worst case scenario, we get one that's, these are like literally like $300 turbos. So worst case scenario, ain't no thing. I haven't eaten since Taco Bell yesterday at lunch, and it's about 8 o'clock at night. So I'm gonna go get food before I pass out. He'll be here tomorrow, so we'll see what he thinks. Everyone else that has trusted me with TIG welding has been a little bit more of an acquaintance than this guy. So this will kind of be the first real test. So we'll see what happens in that regard. And we'll see if my welds crack, I guess, right? Cool.
I think so. Does it sound any different or it sounds the same?
It's pretty loud.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it still smoking or no?
It didn't on the startup.
Okay.
So good for you, bad for me.
Right.
All right, he's happy. Made just over 900 horsepower on my intercooler welds. Thank you everyone this week for buying gloves. Thank you everyone this week for buying t-shirts. Thank you everyone on our Patreon. Merry Christmas to you all. That's all I got for today. We'll see you next time.